Diamonds, no filter. Yeah. What's up, people? It's your boy Doggie Diamonds. Another episode of Doggie Diamonds, no filter. This is a motherfucking special episode because this was years in the making. I got a special guest next to me. Let me say that shit right. I got a special guest next to me. I'm gonna set this up right. When you see his face, I want you to think music. Just think Brooklyn Zoo. Think Heaters. Think Fish. Think Slang Editorial. Think Milk the Cow. Think Rec Room. Tragedy for RZA. This is True Master, man. One of the illest producers ever. Shit. See, the Rec Room fucked me up because I didn't know he did Rec Room, and that's like one of my favorite beats. True Master, what's going on?
What's going on, Lord?
Chilling, man. I just ran down a little bit of your resume on the music tip, the production that you did. When did you get into doing the whole beat thing?
Well, I always was interested in music, and at an early age, I started rhyming, MCing. I was influenced by my older cousins and listening to a lot of old school tapes, Cold Crush, etc. And so needing to make beats, you know what I mean? I started sampling from Casio.
Was you doing the pause tapes back then?
Pause, of course. Everybody did the pause tapes, you know what I mean? And so basically, that's how I started. I needed to make music for my own lyrics.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how it all started.
What was your rap name?
Well, originally my name was King Shabazz.
Okay.
And that was my name when I started. Well, initially when I started in getting knowledge of self, my name was Darkim Shabazz. And then I just changed it to King Shabazz from my enlightener, who was my older cousin, King Wise. He told me I had matured and I had now became a king, so he started calling me King Shabazz, etc. So I took that name. That was my initial name.
And then, so you're doing these beats, and then everybody. When did everybody get to know who you was? Because then out of nowhere, you was just this big producer.
Well, I had met RZA, Jizza, and Old Dirty one night. There was I was walking through Manhattan, and I think it was a convention going on or something, and we kind of like walked past each other and saw the flags, you know, the universal flags. So we stopped, peace to the God, peace. We built for a little while, and you know, once we all, you know, identified ourselves as MCs, also we started rhyming for each other. It wasn't like a battle. I guess some people might say.
It was a cipher.
It was a cipher. And I was like rhyming against, you know, some of the MCs I consider to be the greatest MCs I ever seen.
Were they Wu-Tang at this time?
At the time, there was no Wu-Tang yet.
Okay.
But they were still, nonetheless, incredible lyricists.
You was rhyming against the Genius, Prince Rakeem, and their unknown cousin at the time.
And their unknown cousin at the time.
Did you know it was Prince Rakeem and Genius?
They hadn't had no records out yet.
Oh, shit.
It wasn't even. They was nobody had busted a nut yet.
Oh shit!
In the music industry. So what? That was, I knew. You know how like you just know. I was like, you know, I was still blown away by, you know, the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I could do, I had a secret technique, like I used to rhyme backwards.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and they was like, hold up, all right, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough, Lord.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then it was like, yo, we want you to fuck with us. You know what I mean? So I started hanging out with them, and their manager was Mel Quan. He was there at the time. So that's how we kind of like all got cool. You know what I mean?
What year was this?
This, I would say, is probably 86.
Damn.
86.
So you saying 86? Shit, Rakim might have just been coming out.
Exactly. That's when we was just getting Rakim. We was just getting Kane. You know, in the early stages of all of that. So, you know, that, yeah.
Wow. So no Cold Chillin' deal, no Tommy Boy deal.
No deals yet.
None of that. So y'all clicked ever since then?
We clicked, and you know, we had a lot of other things in common. Of course, Kung Fu flicks.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I used to put RZA on the flicks. He put me on the flicks, etc. And also the desire to be a producer.
Okay.
We would share ideas, production tips, etc. And RZA had a production workstation before I had one, so I used to go to his house sometimes with records and different ideas, and
You know, you said something foreign to the audience, right? You said records. They don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, because we come from an era where vinyl
Was everything.
was everything. You know what I mean? Digging for vinyl, going to shop for vinyl. That in and of itself was an experience, and it was something you look forward to doing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If you saw records on the street, if you saw anybody with records,
Any
you
yard
stop.
sale,
You stop and
records.
look.
Listen, I remember Easy Mo B had bought some 8-tracks. It was like, yo, I'm gonna go through these 8-tracks. I'm like, you still got a fucking 8-track player? He was like, yo, you gotta have everything when you looking for samples. So, that's how you met them. We gonna do two things because I want to get this out the way early. We're gonna do two things. We're gonna bring them back to the fame and the rise, but I want to take them right to the fall because I know a lot of people are gonna be saying, "Yo, I heard this about him. I saw this about him." Let's get right into that. A few years ago, I seen the newspaper clippings. I seen all these things. True Master was arrested for escape, arrested for rape, arrested for sexual assault, and that was blown up. Another hip hop artist. Here we go, hip hop. They blame everything on hip hop. But then you were exonerated. That wasn't blown up.
Well, that's what I call a typical thing that happens when people are in conspiratorial situations.
Okay.
My situation was conspiratorial. I deliberately waited to speak about it when I first came home. Hakeem had hooked us up.
Yep.
And I told you I wasn't ready to do any interviews yet until I got more evidence of my complete innocence, because I didn't want people to say, well, what about this charge and this charge? And there's never was full testing of the evidence. There never was a full proper handling of the case. Now I also have evidence of conspiracy. I have evidence of withholding exculpatory evidence of my innocence and subjecting me to a trial.
So what was your exact charges?
Okay. With that case, I was charged with rape by sodomy.
Okay.
Sexual abuse, which is allegedly inserting my hand into the vagina of the alleged victim. And I was also charged with attempted rape. So there are 3 sexual offense charges that I was charged with. And then there was an unlawful imprisonment charge.
Okay.
And misdemeanor assault charge.
Okay. Now clarify something for me if you can. The rape by sodomy, that could be 2 things. That could be oral or anal sex, right? So if you rape somebody, how do you attempt to rape them? I'm confused. How do they put those charges on people?
Okay. Rape by sodomy, for my case, was defined as forcing the alleged victim to, or allegedly forcing the alleged victim to perform oral sex on me.
Okay.
Now, the attempted rape
is vaginal.
Was the alleged attempted penetration of the vagina.
Okay.
With my
we
penis.
Jump off. Yeah. Cause I always be like, when they be like attempt robbery, like either I robbed you or I didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I always
well see, that's because when people hear those charges, I'm glad you clarified it. They'll say, well, damn, they charge you with rape and they charge you with attempted rape.
Yeah.
So what, the rape is a sodomy rape count.
Okay.
Sodomy and rape is really the same kind of thing in a way, because you're forcing a sexual act. So anytime you force a sexual act, even if they decide to call anal sex sodomy and regular sex a rape now, it's really the same thing.
Yeah. So they define it by the whole, basically.
Yeah, but I mean the it's the same. They're both B felonies.
Okay.
In New York, there's really they're handled in the same kind of manner. They're like you know, everybody knows that's the worst kind of crimes anybody can commit.
That pedophilia.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Any
so those charges immediately fucking casted I guess a shadow over me, my reputation, my name, and everything that I've worked to establish over the years. Now, a lot of people don't know, but I had already began to do lectures in the conscious community.
Mm-hmm.
I had did at least 4 or 5 lectures with the House of Consciousness alone.
Okay.
I went to Germany. I spoke about the indigenous Moorish heritage that a lot of people don't know exists in Bavaria, Germany, and started in Bavaria, Germany. I lectured around the country about the same thing. I tended to focus on history as opposed to my opinions on the politics of today. I wanted to go back and show history that a lot of people don't know about. That's very important. So that's what I was doing. And, some of my friends said, this entire situation with you being accused of all of these crimes out of the blue and the way that it was all set up, even with a fake escape case. Now, by the way, I was acquitted of the escape case. However, it was never reported in the media because the prosecutor who was handling the case, I was told by my moms, had one, she broke down crying after the trial, and because she had been defeated by a pro se litigant who don't have no experience. And
break down. What's a pro se litigant?
Pro se litigant is somebody who's exercising their constitutional right to defend themselves.
Now, hold on. Let's get this straight for the people. He defended himself with counsel.
With advisory counsel.
With advisory counsel, but you went in there and you went in the law library and you bust their ass. So let's do that right there. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of it's rare that a black man could go in any court and successfully defend himself. I know Colin Ferguson tried it. Some people tried it and they got fried for it. But the charges against you were some very, very strong charges.
The escape charge is also very serious because when you're accused of something like sexual assault, even though most people don't know, sexual assault is the most falsely reported crime of all crimes. But a lot of people don't know that. All you got to do is do your research. You'll find sexual assault statistically is the most falsely reported of all crimes. Now, once they accuse you of something like that, and then they accuse you of escaping, it makes you look guilty. It makes you look more, like during the trial. They was arguing that the escape was evidence of my guilt of the alleged sexual assault crime.
So when you say escape, they're saying you allegedly raped somebody and then bounced.
And no, then after I got arrested, I allegedly escaped custody.
Oh, okay. How the fuck you allegedly escaped custody?
Well, because where I was being held, and this is another thing too, they misreported it. They said that I had, in the papers, when I spoke to some of my friends, they said that they read that I had escaped from a precinct.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was accused of escaping the Manhattan Criminal Court building, which is impossible to do. And this is why I was able to demonstrate that I was set up with a fake escape case and that they had to literally tamper with the cameras and erase. I demonstrated where I finally got. I had tried to request the camera video footage to show that a captain of corrections had escorted me out through at least 4 different guarded posts that was locked.
Yeah, as you have to. Yeah,
and as you have to, and as they do when you're bailed out.
Yeah.
So when I finally got the footage before the trial and I'm reviewing it, I'm like, damn, these motherfuckers simply erased the parts. You know, there's gaps on there, jumps like, you know, it jumps from here. You know how it is and shit. So they just basically, they made it impossible for me to now press charges against the people that set me up with this fake escape case. However, I was acquitted of the escape case, and now I have to come out. These are one of the things that I have to come out and let the people know, because if you Google my name, you'll just see that I was charged with these sexual assaults. I was allegedly had escaped, and there's no, even though they might have put in the paper that I beat the rape count, they don't say that I beat the escape count. But that case, I did beat that case as well. Now, nobody beats escape cases. But they were literally trying to say, they was trying to have a circumstantial escape case. They were saying, we don't know when, where, or how he escaped, but he escaped. So after studying in the law library, I was able to find that you can't have a circumstantial escape case. You can't say we don't know when, where, or not even how.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
You ain't no fucking magician.
I'm not. I didn't just,
blink yourself. Yeah.
So, and at the same time, that escape case made me look guilty, and it was able to prevent me from having bail. Since I don't have a criminal history.
Because you already escaped, so they're not going to give you a bail.
Yeah,
so now you're a flight risk.
Now I was subject to an even worse situation than Khalif Browder.
Okay, Browder.
Because he was on Rikers Island for 3 years without a trial. I was on Rikers Island for over 4 years without no trial.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, if you were on Rikers Island for over 4 years without no trial, that should let everybody know something is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Something is wrong, and the prosecutors are avoiding a trial. You know what I'm saying? But they trying to hold you in there while avoiding a trial. Something is wrong. Now, in my situation, I had to literally force them to have a trial, which I learned how to do from studying in the law library.
How much time did you put in that law library? Because other dudes, they get locked up, they start getting comfortable. They start, wanting all types of commissary, all types of clothes. They start mingling with everybody. They start becoming affiliated with all types of things, and they don't study their case.
Well, a lot of people that's in jail, when I was in there, they come and go, and they're not a person this is the first time I was in custody.
Okay.
So a lot of people in there, you see them, they see they mans and them, yo, how you been?
Yeah.
I ain't see you since the last time I was in here.
Yeah.
So and so was
nigga
up
home
top.
And shit.
Da. This nigga went home.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And you like, hold up, man. What is this, Club Med?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't, I wasn't really trying to be overly fraternizing with people in there. You know what I mean? And I was trying to mind my business and get the fuck out of there.
As you should.
But unfortunately, I was in there for like over 4 years without no trial. And the only way I was able to compel them to have a trial was to get a writ of habeas corpus granted for an unlawful imprisonment.
Wow.
And that forced them to have a trial right away. So
4 years later.
4 years later, and a lot of tampered with evidence later. Now we're gonna go into some serious shit, because after the trial, I had a mistrial that was forced on me, by the way, because of a juror's vacation plans.
Wow.
Now, the law in the United States is you can't have a mistrial for vacation plans of a juror. If a judge permits that to happen, it's automatic double jeopardy. They can't try you again. Now, in my case, I guess there's a double standard amongst, I guess minorities. The appellate courts don't act like we're entitled to the same types of privileges or constitutional protections afforded to, everybody else. Because basically, if a mistrial is declared because of a juror's vacation plan, if it's your fault, then they can retry you. If it's not, double jeopardy attaches. Now, with my case, they forced a mistrial on me, I believe, because they knew going in that, number one, they didn't have no evidence. My case was a circumstantial case. Circumstantial, for those that don't know, means there's no direct evidence of your guilt.
Okay, so when you say direct evidence, they did a rape kit?
Good question. They took a rape kit, but unfortunately, I was a victim of what's called the so-called rape kit backlog problem. The rape kit backlog problem is a problem in the United States, which a lot of people are aware of, where there's over 400,000 rape kits that haven't been tested in the United States. Obama signed legislation to mandate the states to test these rape kits because not only are there a lot of repeated sexual predators out there who getting away with shit, but there are innocent people wrongfully alleged of sexual assault cases, and they can't be vindicated like myself unless a rape kit is tested. So I was forced, well, at the end of the day, I forced them to go to trial, but they had deliberately avoided the testing of the rape kit. So I went to trial without my rape kit being tested.
Wow.
Now, this is why now, after the trial, and almost 2 years later, about a year and a half later, I finally got all of the tests done from the rape kit as well as other evidence. They avoided the testing of all my evidence because they knew they was framing me.
So at the end of it all, even though a mistrial was declared, you defeated them, because it is defeat, you're a free man, you still pushing for full vindication. You still getting the test.
I have to, because, I got a daughter. I have family members who, they support me, but I still owe it to them. I owe it to my fans.
Because there's always somebody that's like,
I don't want them to have to deal with any skepticism.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And once I start doing work back in the industry, I don't want, I know a lot of people in the industry. I'm respected by a lot of the producers respect me, and as one of their peers who has contributed a lot to this culture. So I don't want anybody who's helped me along the way to feel like, damn, I'm associated with helping him, and even though he might have beat the rape by sodomy charge, that's the only test they did was they tested for DNA, semen, and saliva. And according to her account of what allegedly happened, they were supposed to have been able to find semen, saliva, and DNA, but they didn't find any.
Wow.
So since they didn't find any, that's how I was quickly acquitted in 1 day worth of deliberations. I only had 1 full day of deliberations before a mistrial. They quickly acquitted me of the most serious count. Okay. But because they did not fully test the rape kit, there was like a limbo for the other 2 minor counts. Okay. Which was attempted rape. That's still not a minor. Any sexual assault charge is really not minor. But in comparison to a rape charge can carry I think you gotta serve at least 25 years.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like at least 15 minimum.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, I demanded that these tests be done. I didn't know going in about this rape backlog problem. Okay. I didn't know about a rape kit backlog. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know about Obama hadn't done the legislation yet. It wasn't in the media. So I didn't know that of the avoidance of testing a rape kit has become something that prosecutors are not supposed to be doing. They know they've been given the cue from the federal government, and New York is boasting. If you go to Cyrus Vance's website, New York boasts that it's the first state in full compliance to the federal mandate to test all these rape kits. So there's not supposed to be no untested rape kits in New York State, yet I was tried with my rape kit not being fully tested.
So one of your missions is to not only fully clear your name, exonerate your name, but also help other brothers out there that's facing this shit right now. And you, at the particular time, you did 4 years. If they wanted to, they could say, time served. You like, fuck that.
They offered me that right before the trial. Now, they've been tampering with my minutes, too. All my minutes been tampered with. But right before the trial.
Tell them what minutes is, because they like minutes.
Minutes are the transcripts from court dates.
Okay.
Because I was subjected to so much misconduct, another thing, whenever you on Rikers Island for years and years, you can best believe you're missing your court dates while you're being in custody. Whenever they have court dates, they might take you to the court building, but they never bring you out. And, I missed, I would say, probably at least 40% of my court dates.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? While I was in there, and my mother had contacted somebody who works with the Senate, and she came down to my court dates, but was bugging because I'd never be brought out.
You never got produced.
And when you never produce, that's a violation of your constitutional rights too.
Yeah.
So she started calling prisoners' rights, writing letters for me, telling them that I was being denied haircuts. I saw, like, if you look, you'll see online, when I'm arraigned in Supreme Court, I'm woofing. I got I ain't shaving. I look crazy and all that. This is because they deliberately try to make you look like that.
Yeah.
The correction officers are instructed, don't give this man no haircuts. Don't let him shave. You know what I'm saying? And everybody who knows me know I like to keep, I gotta keep my hair off my face. So, everybody was like, damn, that don't look like the guard right there.
You almost look the part.
Because it was
made
a part.
You look the part.
It was a part being forced on me. Now, so they didn't let me go to court dates, but with the help of a young lady, Caprice Alvarez, Dr. Caprice Alvarez, and she wrote her dissertation for her doctorate on corrupt lawyers. You know what I mean? So my friend connected her with my mom's. She started writing letters to the prisoners' rights, and only because of her would they start giving me haircuts and start making sure I was being produced in court.
So you were a prisoner in prison.
A prisoner in prison. And I know that a lot of people in the industry who've helped me along the years, they would have probably reached out, but these kind of charges make people want to go like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? So again, now I want to show and demonstrate my innocence, even on the undecided accounts, because I want my peers in the industry to help me when I start going against the corruption that exists in New York City. Because, there was a case around the same time I was being tried. There was a case in the Bronx where a judge told a prosecutor, get out my court and you are barred from ever trying any cases in this courtroom. When the judge found out, the prosecutor was hiding evidence of the man's innocence, and he was accused of a sexual assault case like mine.
Wow.
So it shows you that this type of behavior is real. There's already legislation that's been introduced and supported for New York State to now have a commission on prosecutor misconduct. That doesn't exist in New York State.
Yeah, because they're the good guys.
So they get away with shit, but they about to get, and then also when you have people, they're about to get, the Senate is coming down on them because it's getting to be outrageous.
I did Milk the Cow video produced by him for Capadonna. That was like one of my favorite records. And I said, I hit Lounge, that's Capadonna brother, and I was like, Lounge, you think Cap would do a video for Milk the Cow? He said, yo, yes sir, if y'all know how Lounge talk, he hit you with all that lingo razoo and all that. He said, I'm gonna run it by him. He said, Cap said he with it. So I said, yo, we can't do the video without True Master though. Like he produced it, like we can't do it. And at that particular time, you was down. And the funny thing about it, Cap didn't say nothing negative, Lounge didn't say nothing negative, but I knew a lot of people knew where you were at.
And some people didn't want to really go into it.
They didn't want to reveal it because that's serious charges, and it's an embarrassment not to be affiliated with you, but everybody want to know if it's true. or if it's not true. So you don't want to just throw somebody on the bus and be
Okay.
like,
Well, since you just said that, let me go into these other
Let's
two
go.
counts. Now, like I said, in addition to this, in addition to the sodomy count,
Okay.
which I was quickly found not guilty because that's the only test they did.
okay,
And I guess once they saw that that test would exonerate me, they said we can't finish testing this kid, or he's going to be fully exonerated. We're going to be looking stupid, and we shouldn't even try the case at this point, because these types of tests are supposed to also prevent prosecutions.
yes.
Because if they test the evidence and it demonstrates your innocence, it means the person is not only lying, but that they should be prosecuted.
Actual facts.
For lying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was alleged to have inserted my hand in her vagina, which is called sexual abuse.
Okay.
Now, since they had tested for DNA, in order for the sodomy, the medical examiner's office also tested the vaginal swabs for DNA.
Okay.
When they didn't have none, the prosecutor argued that that wasn't enough to find me not guilty of sexual abuse, because she said I put KY lubricant on my hand and that the KY prevented my hand from leaving DNA. It acted as like a glove or a shield. So I argued, well, why didn't you test for KY lubricant while you tested for DNA? And they simply were saying we neglected, we mistakenly overlooked this test for lubricant. What I didn't know is that they deliberately avoided that test because with the rape kit backlog problem, and even if you go to Cyrus Vance's site, you'll see that they are constantly boasting about being in total compliance with testing all these rape kits. And you don't not test a rape kit when all this attention is on it. And also, I didn't know that there were court orders, more than one, to order them to test for KY lubricant.
Wow.
Because if somebody say you put KY lubricant on your hand and stuck it in them, don't you think that the courts is going to say, even the medical examiner's office said, we request that you immediately perform the test for KY lubricant to go with our results of no DNA being found, so that we can have a conclusive, definitive results on whether or not he inserted his hand in her. So after the trial, I demanded that a test be done for KY lubricant. Okay, here's the test report. It was done last year, and it of course showed there's no KY lubricant, along with no DNA. So that conclusively proves my innocence or disproves the allegation of sexual abuse. So this is the report. I'm gonna give you a copy of this. I don't know if you might want to flash it on the
we'll
joint
figure
while
it out.
we're talking. But this is the actual report right here. Now, so that's one of the reports. Now, here's the killer, right? The broad who accused me of this said that during the struggle, this fictitious struggle, I was drinking a glass of wine and she knocked over the wine, fighting me off, right? And that the wine glass broke, right? So I had really never even heard of a broken wine glass until like right before the trial. And I said, well, wait a minute. If there never was a struggle, that means that the police had to help fabricate this fake piece of evidence here, which, people, by the way, is not something new. First of all, Kenneth Thompson, who was the DA in Brooklyn, if y'all are aware, he was reversing almost 3 wrongful convictions a month. And the way he was doing it was he would show that the prosecutor or the police was hiding evidence. In my case, they had created a fake piece of evidence because they had nothing. I had never had any sexual involvement with this broad. So they said they had a broken wine glass and that the wine glass was evidence of this alleged struggle that this girl is talking about. Now, even if you go online, I read it in the New York Times had spoke about this wine glass. Now, during the trial, I told my lawyer, I said, yo, I want to tell a jury that this is not only a conspiracy, but that since there was no struggle, the police helped her create this wine glass. Mm-hmm. And my advisory counsel said, I wouldn't advise you to do that because juries are scared of any allegations of conspiracy or anything of that nature, even though we know it exists. They don't like to, they're uncomfortable with that. I said, no, I'm saying that. So during the trial, I kept saying, there was no struggle. This wine glass is fake evidence, and why wasn't it tested for my fingerprints, right? Now, again, I was unaware that they were ordered to test the wine glass for fingerprints. Mm-hmm. But this is the killer. I just recently got the test for my fingerprints on the wine glass. They were avoiding the test because they knew my prints wasn't on there. So here is the test showing not only was my fingerprints not on there, their fingerprints on there, they don't know who it is. Not only are my prints not on there, but I have evidence in this lab report to prove that the wine glass was tested before I had it tested, which means they knew my prints wasn't on there and pretended that they never did the test so they could try me with a piece of evidence that they knew would only benefit me. Mm. You see how crazy that is? And do you see the conspiratorial nature and the crazy shit I was involved in and still am involved in? Because as far as I'm concerned, until I can expose this and start getting good, decent people to help me expose these people and make them accountable, they'll do it to someone else. Mm. So we need to let the people know who these prosecutors are, who these police officers are. You know what I'm saying? Because, first of all, I've been saying that the wine glass was fake evidence. Now I have evidence that not only was it fake evidence, but that somebody tested it before the trial and knew my prints wasn't on there and then pretended that they never tested it.
Wow.
So they did at least, we have evidence that they complied with their duty to test that particular piece of evidence, but the wine glass is not part of the rape kit. The lubricant was.
Okay.
So for me to demonstrate now that there was a test done on the wine glass before the trial, and then the prosecutor pretended that they never did a test, means that they withheld exculpatory evidence, and that's the worst thing a prosecutor can do. Not most states, but in many states now, it's a felony crime for a prosecutor to do something like this.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's as grimy as you can get, but it exists. Unfortunately, we have these types of situations, and we have to be aware of them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, at this point, I have to not only vindicate myself, but try to educate people and help other people.
Your case gonna be in a law library one day.
Oh, guaranteed. Not only that, but you know what I'm saying? We have to hold these people accountable.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Y'all don't just get away with it.
Nah, you don't just get away with doing this.
So what's on these papers right here?
These are just additional copies.
Okay.
These were,
okay.
The test on the wine glass was done this year.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago. This was done last year. The test for the KY lubricant to add the conclusive evidence that I never put my hands.
So where is the rape kit?
The rape kit now is in the possession of the prosecutor.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the testing, and this is why I don't think that the district attorney, Cyrus Vance, is aware of what these type of assistant district attorneys do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And this is why once we expose this,
make it public,
then make it public, then he can look back and say, wait a minute, these people are doing unfair prosecutions, and they're going after people when they shouldn't be going after people. They're trying to ruin people's lives, destroy their reputations, and they know that these people are innocent. So I don't want these people associated with my organization.
My practice, like
during his tenure, because Cyrus Vance has a pretty good reputation for sending people out into the community, talking to people in the community. If you go on his website, he just prosecuted some police officers for unlawful arrests and stuff like that. He is the one who spearheaded New York to be the first state in compliance with testing all the backlogged rape kits. So he doesn't know that these people avoided a rape kit and then tested a wine glass and pretended it wasn't tested. I don't think he has any knowledge of that type of stuff.
So the female, do you know the female?
I know her. I met her through a friend of mine, I guess, who was like a mutual friend named Tammy Ford. Do you know Tammy Ford?
Name sound familiar.
Tammy Ford was a party promoter who, I guess, during the late '90s and early 2000s, she was one of the top party promoters in New York City when hip hop was. During the '90s, when hip hop was New York,
scene, that's what I was telling them. I was telling them that
New York, when we had the hip hop cup, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. We was partying all the time.
You had many spots.
Many spots.
Home base.
She had at least 2-3 spots popping during the week. Everybody would be there. You know what I'm saying? And she was a good friend of mine. Back in the days, I had dealt with a couple of her girlfriends or whatever the case may be. Nothing like this girl, because the girls that I dealt with that was her friends were beautiful women. You know what I'm saying? This broad that accused me of this is a monster, by the way.
Yeah.
And Tammy helped me do a New Year's Eve party.
Okay.
Back in 2006, I had a brownstone in Harlem. I had rented it to Damon Dash and BET. He was doing a reality show called The Ultimate Hustler.
Facts.
Man. And they used my brownstone. Afterwards, we had a party. And, I wanted to do like I'm coming back into the brownstone and doing my thing in there. So what I did was I did a New Year's party, and Tammy put it together. She had all kind of beautiful women in there. She said that this broad was in there. I didn't remember the broad being in the party because all I remember seeing in the party was beautiful women. This broad is a monster, straight monster. Now, after the party, Tammy called me and said, look, one of my girlfriends keep hounding me. She want to meet you. She said, she thinks you're so sexy. She want to get to know you, blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't say she's your type, but, at least say hi to her, be nice to her when when you come in my parties or whatever, I'll show you who she is. I said, all right. So I went to her party and I saw the girl and I was like, all right. So when I'm with Tammy and her friends or whatever, I act like a gentleman, you know what I mean? I might buy them a couple of drinks or we might go out and eat or whatever the case may be. And I think the broad wanted to kind of hang out with us. She was seeing how I was maneuvering after the parties, me and Tammy and a couple of our friends would go out, have drinks or whatever, and keep it on some like after party shit or whatever. So I let her kind of hang out with us. I bought her drinks. Sometimes she started like kind of asking for money. And that's when I kind of was like, wait a minute, why the fuck you asking me for money?
Yeah.
But, initially she came on to me through a mutual friend. Now, when she accused me of this shit, she pretended she didn't even have no interaction with me before this alleged sexual assault. So I didn't know that she had said she didn't have no interaction until right before the trial. So when I found that, I was like, wait a minute, this bitch acting like she don't know me? So Hakeem, who hooked us up, He knows Tammy. He immediately called Tammy. He was at the first day of the trial when she testified. I said, yo, Tammy, I can't believe it. The bitch is saying she don't know True. Pardon me, I don't, I don't really want to be cursing on here or whatever, but
it is like, what it is. I curse.
She, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? So he said, yo, this bitch is acting like she don't know the God. So Tammy was like, what? Hold up. I introduced her to him. Now I know something is wrong, and I gotta help him. I can't even, you know what I'm saying? I can't even live with myself. Out there like
yeah.
If I introduced him to her, she met him on my word, and now she acting like she don't know him, so she can make her story seem, I guess, obviously seem more credible. You know what I mean? So Tammy testified that no, this broad, you know, was trying to get at this man.
So she actually testified.
Yeah, she came and testified, and it was a surprise because Tammy didn't come forward until when the trial started, because none of us knew that the broad was saying she ain't know me.
Oh, okay.
And then when Tammy came forward, that's one of the things that took the wind out the prosecutor's sails, because they was like, oh no, this is her friend. You know what I'm saying? So that made her look bad. And there was a lot of examples of where she perjured herself during the trial. Her story conflicted with everyone. And, you know, it looked real bad, you know what I'm saying? To this day, I'm actually friends with one of the jurors who was adamant about my innocence. A lady, very nice lady, a Dominican lady, and there was no black people in the jury there. I think there was like maybe 3 Latin people.
So it's automatically not your peers.
Right. But the Dominican lady, she considers herself to be
black, yeah.
a woman of color, a black
as you
woman.
are.
You know what I'm saying? So as you are. And she's a very lovely woman, by the way. And she's, you know, she was like, yo, everybody can see through this broad. You know what I'm saying? And it's because not only was, all right, if you have a case where it's circumstantial, right? A circumstantial case is the only case where the judge has to tell a jury, look, there's no direct evidence of his innocence, so since it's basically a he say, she say case, we have to permit him to have a character witness, and if you believe his character witness, that's enough to find him innocent. Because you could use that as a grounds for not guilty because there's no evidence or nothing. And you can't find him guilty unless the prosecutor's account of what happened is the only logical thing that you to believe.
It's more believable.
Right.
So it's basically who you believe.
Well, but it's basically who you believe, but you can't have, they have to basically tell them you can't have any room, even the slightest doubt that the prosecution's account is not what happened. You can't find him guilty.
Okay.
Because it's a circumstantial case.
Hence reasonable doubt.
So this is why they had to hide evidence.
Wow.
Avoid the testing of evidence, because they knew after they did the first test, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We done had this man in here all this time, you know what I'm saying, with all this bullshit. So we're gonna have to, you know, hide this shit.
Monetarily, is there any lawsuits that you could take against the government to get that? I mean, you can't get the time back, but damn, you lost a lot of money.
I lost a lot of money. I lost all kind of shit,
lost
relationships,
my
reputation, time with my daughter, and see what happened after that trial was they had to give me an opportunity to test the evidence, because I started to find out my rights about if there's evidence and you're accused of something, they have to give you an opportunity to test the evidence. They can't. That's why they was never supposed to avoid testing the evidence
in the first place.
Especially with a rape kit. Now, in addition to that, since it was a mistrial, the case is still open, so to speak. Now, since the case is still open, they haven't set a date for another trial per se.
But they can retry.
But they can if they. Now, these tests are supposed to completely make them go, all right, case dismissed, let's leave the guard alone, right? Which the prosecutor wanted to do after the test for the KY. Right after, before I even did this fingerprint test, wine glass, they saw that I did this test for the KY and said, we don't want to try. They told the judge, we don't want to try this case. You know what the judge said? I don't think y'all should dismiss the case. I think you should wait a while and reconsider. Now, he knew I had to get these other tests done. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if eventually he'll try to pressure them into a trial or whatever. Mm-hmm. But now that I have all the tests done, I'm confident that once I make the bureau chiefs and Cyrus Vance aware of this, they won't try it. For one, you can't prosecute me of any of the sexual assault crimes now. It's like, I mean, it doesn't even make no sense. But if they want to harass you,
yeah,
if they want to try to embarrass you, put your reputation out there
further
for people to be, like, damn, you know what I mean? Even if you get exonerated, just to harass you, to, take you through all this bullshit.
Because you kind of beat them.
Because you beat them, exactly.
Yeah.
So they could do it, but I don't think that if this type of stuff is made known that they would do it.
So what's the closing? Do they say you need an emphatical case dismiss and a seal? Like, what deads it? Do they? Because it, like, for me, I don't really fully understand. Maybe the audience don't. Is this something pending for 10 years and they could just pull you back?
Well,
like, what's this? Is there a statute of limitations?
Okay, I was tried in July and August of 2015.
Okay.
All right. I came home in 2015. I've been home for almost a year and a half now. Mm-hmm. But they haven't been a trial yet. They haven't. Like I said, the prosecutor after this first test stated openly, we don't want to try the case no more. And then when we went to court and the judge heard that, he was like, he doesn't really think that the case should, which a judge is not supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of prejudice.
Not only is that prejudice, but when that judge did that is when I found out that he, along with some other judges, are basically illegally occupying the Supreme Court. They was never constitutionally elected to the Supreme Court. These type of judges are the ones that, like, after this, even after this test, when they saw the first test, proved conclusively, no more arguments or nothing, that I didn't put my hand in the prosecutor said we don't want to try it because they knew I was entitled to a motion for dismissal based on this new evidence, right? The judge said, I'm not letting you submit a motion for dismissal. I think this, now, have you ever heard of some shit that's that fucking, that makes no sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, none of this shit made any sense.
None of this makes no sense, but this is how crazy the situations can get when you're being subjected to corrupt people in trusted public positions. Now, the judge, Supreme Court is the only judge that has to be elected. All other judges, criminal court, regular criminal court, civil court, family court, surrogate court.
Voted in, right?
No, they're appointed.
Appointed, okay.
Appointed. Supreme Court judges have to get voted in.
Okay.
And only time you can have an acting Supreme Court judge is if one of the judges can't finish their term for whatever unexpected reason, death, illness, anything. So then a acting Supreme Court judge can be appointed temporarily until the next annual election, because the law says an acting Supreme Court judge is never supposed to be in that seat more than a year, because if he is, he's blocking a lawful election from taking place.
Okay.
So this judge, Judge James Burke, by the way, unbelievably said, no, I'm not letting you submit a motion to dismiss the case. And I guess the prosecutor telling me and my advisory council, listen, we welcome your motion to dismiss. You got, I mean, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
We'll be expecting your motion. What they said is, we'll be expecting your motion. You know what I'm saying? And they told the judge right before we got the results, well, we're gonna need some time, to deal with the motion if the results come back in his favor. They knew it was supposed to be a motion for dismissal, but if you got a judge saying, no, I'm not letting you do a motion for dismissal, then it makes you wonder about that judge. And then my lawyer told me later, oh, this judge right here, he acts like that because he's not somebody who was lawfully elected. He doesn't have a sense of accountability about an elected seat, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, I'm just trying to now vindicate myself and prevent this from happening to other people.
Okay.
I will be announcing the name of a nonprofit organization that I'm gonna start.
Okay.
To basically expose these people and hold them accountable.
And help others.
And
that
help
might be going
others.
through the same
You know what I'm saying?
situation. So so right now retrial is pending until further notice. You don't know.
I don't know. I have a court date coming up soon, which will be the first court date after this test with the wine glass was completed. Now, of course, this test also shows that not only was my fingerprints not on this glass, but that the glass was tested for my prints before I had it tested for my prints. In fact, there's a procedure where to take latent prints off, and the lab who tested it recently was able to use some of the stuff left on there from a test that they know already took place. So they was able to use some of the materials that's still on the wine glass from another latent print test. So that shows you how corrupt this situation is. It shows all the people out there that True Mass was inside some shit, and basically we have to all work together to stop this type of shit. I got people like Easy Mo B,
the homie,
the big homie, who's gonna, these types of brothers are like, yo, True, I'm with you with whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I want other people, I spoke to Mo a lot while I was in. I spoke to Primo while I was in jail too. Peace to Preem. We go back a long time. You know what I mean? And I want to demonstrate my full innocence and the innocence of a conspiracy so that I can get the support from other colleagues and peers in the industry. Jay-Z funded the movie for Khalif Browder because Khalif Browder was innocent. His case was dismissed after 3 years. Unfortunately, he still killed himself.
Yeah, the psychological effects of what happened.
It's very hard, you know what I'm saying? I was in there for over 4 years.
How did you cope in prison? I mean, in prison, accused rapists don't get no love.
Not only don't you get no love, but you become like, I guess, the scapegoat for anybody if they want to really feel like they want to,
flip on somebody
for nobody, for nothing, or whatever the case may be. And I would say, even though I was staying to myself, there would be some people that would offer me their help, or if anybody ever fucked with me, you know what I'm saying, they would. I seen niggas get punched in the face for fucking with me, and I ain't even had to do it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I didn't get into shit.
Yeah.
I had a few little altercations or whatever, but there was times where people came to my aid. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? and handle their business or handle my business for that matter
Yeah.
in a way whereas it let me know that, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, when you going through shit and you staying focused, you know what I'm saying, it's always going to be a few people that identify you and identify
real
with
recognize
you.
The real.
Recognize. That's what niggas would tell me, yo, man, you know what? I watch how you move. I know your aura, your energy. I doubt very seriously if you did the accusations against you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying? I would try to keep the fact that I'm True Master out of the equation. I would try to hide that whole shit.
Yeah.
And then some people would find out, oh, shit, this is True Master.
Yeah.
They'd be like, yo, oh, God, you ain't got nothing to worry about. I got you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I had a few knuckleheads, but I would say overall I had a lot of support, a lot of people who would try to help, even though correction officers was trying to get me into shit. Most of the most violent shit I dealt with came from correction officers.
Wow.
So just for the record, like what Khalif Brower was talking about, a lot that shit is real.
Yeah. And
even worse, you know what I'm saying? You go through shit where correction officers want to do whatever the fuck they can do. If you
the lesson of all of this, because you know it's the understanding of it all. What could you say you learned besides the corruption, besides the false imprisonment, besides all the things you went through? What's your biggest lesson from all of this?
I would say my biggest lesson from all of this is to, number one, I could not go through this without trying to help prevent this from happening to somebody else.
Okay.
I guess, you know, Allah likes to use us in ways that we may not fully understand or agree with for a bigger type of purpose.
And give you nothing you can't handle.
Exactly. And so therefore, in terms of what I went through, obviously, you know what I'm saying, I was always kept in good spirits. You know what I'm saying? And I never thought about giving up or just, you know, or like Khalif Brower.
Thought about killing yourself.
You know, killing myself or something like that. So obviously, for me to walk through all this fire and come out with evidence of my innocence, come out with evidence of the corruption that exists, is for me to help make sure it don't happen to somebody or somebody who's less fortunate. For me to get this far, I had to spend a lot of money on lawyers. A lot of people don't have money to spend on lawyers. A lot of people who are innocent could have possibly not been able to do what I did because they would not have been able to have the resources and the means to pay people
I want to ask
get
you
them that far.
If you wasn't True Master, that's good relationships, talented, had people in your corner like the RZA and various other artists, do you think they would have just fried you? Because you didn't have.
Well, what they did initially, the media was at all my court dates. Mm-hmm. Then suddenly, I stopped seeing the media. I didn't know they told the media that I didn't want them there because they wanted to be able to do what they could do to me. Mm-hmm. So they couldn't have me missing 40% of my court dates while the media is looking in there waiting for me to be brought out. Mm. So they told the media that I said I didn't want them around. And that way, even being True Master became insignificant now because the having the media there to watch and try to discourage them from doing too much extreme shit, it didn't really help me none.
They was able to railroad you.
They was able to railroad me because, again,
nobody knew.
Nobody knew. The allegations are so serious. A lot of people want to stay away. You know what I mean? So, you know, now I want, if you know, when you see somebody like Jay-Z come out and fund this thing, he called Khalif Brower a prophet. Mm. You know what I'm saying? A hero. Well, what I went through is arguably as worse or worse. However, I didn't kill myself.
Yeah.
And I'm still here. I was able to fight my fight as a pro se litigant. Obviously, I can be of some use to someone in a situation where they might not see that there's any way for them to beat this big system.
Because some people just give up mentally, and then anytime you give up mentally, it manifests physically, and you just like, yo, I'm ending myself. I know I ain't do it,
but what
I'm gonna do?
A lot of people in jail, you talk to them, and they be like, yo, I'm ready to kill myself. You know what I'm saying? You be like, you ready to kill yourself? Yo, man, this is too much for me, da-da-da. I'm like, yo, man.
They break your spirit.
Yeah, and you see people be trying to hang themselves. I was on a suicide watch where I would, I wasn't on suicide watch for me.
But you were watching the
suicide. I would,
they
call them, I forgot what they call it, when you, anyway, I would walk around, you know what I'm saying, and make sure people don't kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it is in there. You know what I mean? You got a lot of people in there. Some guys, they cut their wrists up and their hands up to get attention.
Yeah, they call them cutters, I think.
Yeah, whatever the case may be. They pretend like they're trying to kill themselves. They want to do whatever. Try to beat. Some people think that that's a way to beat their case or get labeled crazy and go in a crazy house for a shorter period of time, and then you can leave from there and get back into society without having to do hard time in the jail.
Yeah.
So some people try that kind of shit. But like I said, I would say the only type of lesson I would learn is that I've always considered myself blessed, and I guess, the real powers that be wanted me to go through something in order to be able to help other people. Obviously, with all the conspiracy I've shown, you know what I'm saying, people, like some of my family members was like, yo, your moms and them, they didn't ever think that you was gonna get out of this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your family, they thought you would never get out of this shit, let alone eventually get all this evidence. Now here's the crazy part, y'all. Because I was inexperienced and I didn't know about the rape kit backlog or the federal mandate to test rape kits and just the overall withholding exculpatory evidence, I didn't know that they had orders to order them to test it. So when I requested these tests, they said, okay, you pay for the test. I said, why are you going to make me pay for the test? You know what I'm saying? I put in a motion for the court to have the medical examiner's office, because in their, the medical examiner's office states that if it's a test they can't perform, they'll help oversee an independent lab or something like that, or they'll be the ones to facilitate all that. So they said, you pay for it. And I said, why do I gotta pay for it? Oh, he's a multi-platinum Grammy Award-winning producer. Make him pay for it. So, unfortunately, I paid for these tests to be done. They didn't want to get the test
Unfortunately.
done. Why would they? Well, fortunately, I had the ability to pay for this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Cyrus Vance and them don't know that prosecutors is that immoral, that unethical, and they're hiding behind his reputable name. You know what I'm saying? So to make me pay for these tests myself is a bit too much. You know what I'm saying? But
because if you didn't have it, you just fucked.
Well, I guess one of the things is too, well, they shouldn't have made me pay for this fingerprint test because they could have avoided me finding out that they had already tested it.
Yeah, I'm about to say that.
That's how stupid these people. Everything is stupid. When you really think about this shit, it's stupid. So I mean, there's tons of misconduct associated with my case. I think that we've dealt with the most important aspects of it. We don't got to go into too much.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you gave me this opportunity. I told you when I came home.
Yeah, you said, I got some shit. I
said, I got to do these tests before I do an interview. But once I'm ready, I told you that you be the the one that I would.
Because I think that was after I did the Hakeem Green No Filter episode 4.
Right.
And he called you from the crib. He was like, yo, True, I'm here with Doggie Diamonds. You know, he want to do. You said, yo, I want to do it, but I got to make sure I could fully clear my name.
If I would have had an interview back
Talk
then,
about raps, it would have been somebody in the comments like,
or even if because you said, well, listen, if you didn't finish all your tests, let's do one just about hip hop.
Yeah.
I love your work, blah blah blah. I said, well, listen, D, I don't want to even do that, because before I get back into any of this, I gotta, number one, show my fans and show anyone out there who may be skeptical about what happened. How was he acquitted of sodomy? Why was there a mistrial on the other counts? What's the situation? We never heard anything about the escape count. Why nobody never reported that he was acquitted of the escape? You know, when he was acquitted of the sodomy count. You know, so I have to do all these things in order to basically, you know, enable myself to do all the other things I want to do. I can't even really approach some of my peers who I know had love for me before, even because I don't want them to have with other people they dealing with.
Yeah, because they'll say don't fuck. Yeah, don't fuck.
You know what I'm saying? Well, nah, True Mass, he was accused of this and that. You know what I mean? Like I said, sexual assaults are the number one most falsely reported of all crimes. In England, they made it a law now that a woman could get life for falsely accusing a man of rape.
Do that shit in America too.
Check this out. Women feminists are in outrage about the law in England, because men in England, just like anywhere, sometimes men who are accused of sexual assault kill themselves.
Yeah.
Even when they vindicated, like this guy Brown.
It's just the embarrassment of that shit, man.
Because going through it and all that, I mean, it's like, and then you got a broad, you lying, you know what I'm saying? And in England, or not even England, in the United Kingdom, that encompasses England, Scotland, and Ireland. Anywhere in the United Kingdom, if you falsely accuse somebody of rape, you can get life. And rightfully so. Now, some of you feminists might say, well, that's a bit extreme.
Nah, fuck that.
No, because some studies on some college campuses found falsely reported rapes, like if they do it just for that campus, as high as like almost 70-something%.
Damn.
On a college campus. False. So the issue here is something has to be done to discourage women from doing this.
For falsely reporting, because there is rapes, there is
I don't like a sexual predator. No one likes a sexual predator. But no one likes a lying broad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That want to destroy somebody's life or is participating in some kind of a conspiracy. Another thing, this broad was arrested back in the days. She was Foxy Brown's driver, right? And ran over some bikers in the village. They would have, you know how they do them little bike races?
Yeah.
Around the park and around the village or whatever. And she ran over two bikers. And then she fled the scene. And two blocks away, she almost hit two more bikers before police swarmed the car, yanked her ass out, and arrested her.
Was that admissible in the court?
Here's what she did. After she got arrested, Foxy Brown fired her. Right? Then 6 months later, when they was about to try her, she started saying that she had a lawyer come out and have a press conference talking about, my client is now saying that she wasn't really the driver that ran over the people. Foxy Brown was driving. She ran over the people, and then 2 blocks later, after she almost hit 2 other people, we quickly changed driver's seats, and that's why I was found in the driver's seat. Now, do you see how thirsty the broad? And not thirsty, crazy. Because after that, the DA figured, well, you know what? We're going to drop the charges. You know what I'm saying? Against the broad. Then the broad tried to sue Foxy Brown because I think Foxy Brown fucked her up after she tried to throw the shit on her.
Yeah.
She tried to sue her for getting fucked up, and the suit got thrown out. Now, back in the days when I had heard this is one of the reasons I stopped associating with her when I first met her in 2006. Because I was like, damn, is this bitch thirsty like this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to have nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
But she's a liar, man. I mean, and she's during the trial, I asked her about that. She tried to pretend she don't know what I'm talking about.
All right, so let me ask you something. Paint the picture for me. You are acting as defense attorney. You are your own defense attorney.
I'm my own defense
So
attorney.
you go before the witnesses and question them?
Absolutely.
Wow, it's like on some real SUV shit?
Yeah. Like, yo,
SVU?
Lord,
Yeah.
I'm the actual, I do everything. I
You
have
knew the
motion
lingo
to
and all
court.
that shit?
I studied it, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Wow.
I think now, I since I've been home and I have
got
more
nice with
access,
it?
I'm
Yeah.
Ella.
Yeah.
If they was to try me again,
Yeah.
I'd terrorize them in the trial.
Yeah.
I would whip their ass so badly, it'd be funny.
So you went up there and you was like, so Miss Such and Such, in the day of court, you was,
I was like that.
damn.
And tripping her up so crazily that it was ridiculous.
You was on some Johnny Cochran shit.
Yo, G, I tripped her up. So, because if somebody's lying on you, right?
And you know they lying.
You know they're lying. So
They know they lying.
They know they lying, but if they're lying on you, you know they're lying, and you know everything you know where to hit them at because you know how they're lying. So it's like, okay, yeah, you lying, and I know exactly what to say to you to trip you up. So that's all I was doing to her. And, you know, the broad is like, I mean, she's pitiful, you know. I don't hate nobody, you know what I'm saying? But the broad is pitiful. She's pitiful.
Is she still walking around?
She's
she
don't live in New York no more.
Okay.
I think she's engaged to some old Jewish white man now.
Okay.
You know, something like that. But I stay sharp because at the end of the day, I might demand that she's prosecuted.
Okay.
Because we need to do things to discourage other people
From doing that shit, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's really, that's important. You can't be, you don't play with people's lives like this. And then also, since my case involves a conspiracy with police, quickly, on an escape case, right? Since they made it look like I had been bailed out, right? I went home, like some of y'all might know, I was apprehended in my house, right? I went home, there was a police car in front of my house, and they was guarding my house because they had broken the door to arrest me without a warrant, and they said they was gonna guard the house so my family could change the lock. So I came home, they was there, they seen me, I seen them, you know what I'm saying? I went in the front door, I had my keys, I locked the door, said, hey, lock the door. I went out, I had a drink, I came back, seen them again, went in, locked the door. They had not heard of no so-called escape. So when they heard of an escape, they said, oh shit, he's right here. You know what I'm saying? He's in his house. You know what I'm saying? So they knocked on the door or whatever. Now, they wrote an accusatory instrument stating Mr. Harris walked in his house in front of us at a time we didn't know of an escape, and he didn't look like he was fleeing the police. So the prosecutor could not use that accusatory instrument and indict me. They changed it. After I was arrested and arraigned, they changed it and got rid of it and wrote one that says I was caught climbing the backyard fence. Now, not only is that withholding evidence, but it's tampering with evidence. It shows how desperate things are. And certainly, Cyrus Vance would not appreciate the fact that the officer himself came to my trial and my pretrial hearings and swore under oath about the accusatory instrument he originally wrote and what was in there. and that he didn't think I had fled no custody when he first saw me, because he was parked right in front of the house. I went in the house right there in front of him and his officer with my key and locked my door, and then I came out and I came back. It was only hours and hours later when he hears about an escape, he goes, Mr. Harris is in this house. So it just shows you how much shit I was dealing with.
Situation after situation.
You know, now what we're going to do is we want to put, I'm thinking of calling my non-for-profit Corruption Watch or something like that, or Corruption Exposed or whatever, because all we have to do is when we see officers or prosecutors doing these things, we simply call a public advocate, call the bureau chiefs of the district attorney's office. You know, if you look online on Cyrus Vance's website, the bureau chiefs tell you we're here to ensure that prosecutions are done fairly. We don't want people's rights being violated.
We don't want another Khalif Browder.
Right. We don't want. They're there to stop.
We don't want a true massive. We don't
want to see this again.
And it's probably thousands and hundreds of brothers right now.
Whatever I went through, it's like, all right, we don't want. If we find out what happened to True, we don't want no other prosecutors to do this. You know, and these are the things we got to do as a collective, and also with these judges. Some of these judges that's acting Supreme Court judges for years and years, those are the ones that make it possible for people like Khalif Browder or myself to be in jail for 3 years, 4 years with no trial, and know that something is wrong. Know that your constitutional rights to a speedy trial is being violated, amongst other things. And they still do it because they don't have no sense of accountability. If you in a seat that you know is supposed to be an elected seat,
and you ain't earn it,
then you don't have no impetus to be accountable.
What I always tell them is the difference between somebody who worked for something and something that's given to somebody.
Right.
The people who work for it respect it more because they know what it's like to get to it. Something that's given to somebody, they don't really respect it.
They don't respect it. You know what I mean? And so, you know, we just got to hold people accountable. So, you know, that's what I intend to do. I want you to be a part of my organization.
No, I'm definitely with that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, you know, we'll keep the people informed or whatever the case may be.
So what we need to do, we need to do a part 2. We could just talk about music the whole time because we definitely needed to. I kind of don't want to talk about music after this right now. I kind of just want this to go out to the people.
Let's link again.
Yeah,
and we
exactly.
Do,
and let's let them
right.
digest this fully the way they need to digest this, and then we can come back and talk about the good times, you know, and you trying to, not even trying to, you rebuilding your reputation, your life. We'll put this out there for the world to see because I think it's kind of a little not classy to be like, so what was it like working with ODB? You know what I'm saying? After we done sit here.
Indeed. And I appreciate, like I said, first of all, this is important. I appreciate the fact that, you know, we able to have a platform.
Yeah, I think we're going to make this in PDF form and let them be able to download it.
Yeah, just let them see it and download it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? See the reports for themselves. And also, we'll, you know, probably by the time we do that, I'll already have my non-for-profit status.
Yes.
You can let them know, you know, how they can help to end some of these corrupt.
Or if one of your family members.
If you have a family member who you know is in a terrible situation, but you have documentation of what is being wrongfully done by prosecutors and or police, then you contact us and we help you to get that information to the right channels, to the right people. As you know, a lot of people won't have that. Kenneth Thompson, who was the district attorney in Brooklyn, he was doing a wonderful job of reversing like at least three wrongful. Yeah, he died.
Until he did that fuck shit with the cop.
What he did?
The one that he let the cop off for killing the kid in the projects. Man, he gave him I
don't know about that one.
Damn. What's the kid name that got killed in East New York?
Oh, the cop that killed the dude in Pink House.
Yeah. He let him off for that shit.
I thought the cop got.
Nah, he gave him like house arrest or some shit like that. We gonna have to.
See, this is the thing though. Did the cop take a plea? Because if the cop was if he got house arrest after a trial, it's not the DA that did it.
No, I'm just saying it somehow.
The DA was prosecuting the cop, trying to prosecute the cop. See, think of it this way. Look, when the cop did that, right? He tried to prosecute the cop, and then the judge gives the cop a lenient sentence or he don't, because I think what he did, he caught a lot of people on some. He wasn't playing. Kenneth Thompson was.
We gonna look it up. I might have to omit this footage because I don't want to look crazy. It'd be like, you don't know what the fuck you talking about, and I don't want us to look crazy.
No, it's good. It's good to bring it up because that was a relevant issue. And like I said, if all these wrongful convictions that Kenneth Thompson reversed, right, was based on the same type of corruption. Prosecutors withholding evidence of people's innocence and trying them. I saw online, New York is the number 2 state with the most wrongful convictions in it. Only second to Texas.
Damn. And they hang motherfuckers in Texas.
Only second to Texas, and that New York, I think about 40% of the wrongful convictions is due to prosecutors hiding evidence, hiding facts of people's innocence. Who does that?
Well,
you know what I'm saying? These kind of people we should know about so that if you're arrested or your family member is in front of these prosecutors, you're careful, or you're saying, why these people still
got a job?
Why these people still got a job? One of the things why the New York Senate approved legislation for a prosecutorial commission on their misconduct is because it's too rampant. You know, we have to be honest with ourselves. What happened to me is not new.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All the different corruption in my case, this is not new. Kenneth Thompson showed you, if anybody, that this shit is so much of these cases that it requires special attention to look and say, well, damn, this person was wrongfully convicted. It happens. People get falsely accused and then wrongfully convicted because they don't have the resources. They're not as sharp. They might not know what to look for. They might not have the drive to go to the law library.
And
they might not have money to pay for tests.
They just give up.
They give up after years
Lose
and years.
Hope, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They come to you and they say, well, before my trial, they said, look, you don't have no felony history. You don't have no criminal record. We can't sentence you like a repeat predicate offender. So how about you take a guilty plea? I'll give you 6 years. You've been in here for 4 and change. You only got a few more.
Up, you coming back down.
You go up for a little couple of months. You come back and you go home. Because if not, you're risking going to jail for the rest of your life. I said, yo, I told the judge, I'd rather lose knowing that I fought for the truth than to take a guilty plea on this bogus ass case right here. And he looked at me like, okay, I heard that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was like, you must be crazy. I'm not taking no damn guilty plea. Now, fortunately, I'm the type of person that I don't give up.
You would have had to register as a sex offender, all types of
I'd have had to register as a sex offender. I would have been all fucked up. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know.
Because the average dude, they're like, yo, I got 4 and I'm tired of fighting. Let me just get that little deuce.
Well, a lot of the guys in there that I saw that's been in and out of the system, whenever they offered something, they like you said, they be saying, well, shit, I've been in here 3 years. Because most of the guys in there that's going through that are people who've been in and out of jail.
Yeah, they know the
So
system,
they go, you know what? Let me take that and let me just go. I go up. They consider that like a little vacation. Let me go up top for a year or 2 or whatever, and
be moving me back downstate. I get a program.
No, I didn't go to 40 plus years old with no criminal record to let somebody throw some fake shit on me, railroad me, try to ruin my reputation. Mind you, even though I was always laid back in the industry, I never put myself on Front Street or all out there. I have to talk now. And also, when I started doing lectures, that showed that I was excited about sharing history with my people. You know what I'm saying? I'm traveling around the world, around the country, and I'm lecturing about information that some of these same types of people don't want anyway.
Yeah.
Because really the extensive level of corruption I encountered is unusual, even for most of the shit I've read about. My shit goes a little bit more deeper.
And and it's funny that you started finding this shit is almost a movie shit. You see this piece, and then you see this piece, and you see it, you like, and they did that too. Like it can't be all.
It's too
shit.
much for us to put into one discussion. So
yeah.
really, like I said, Lord, I just wanted to show the fans and those interested in learning, you know, the evidence to prove my innocence, to also demonstrate the corruption I was facing, to also show the absurdity of what these people attempt to do to people's lives. And, you know, I have to get that out because like we both know and we all know, I can't even resume my career unless I do these things. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really want to. All kind of people asked me for interviews. I said, nah, I'm gonna wait. Even when I beat the escape case, somebody called me like, yo, I want to write a book. I want you, you know, I'll write it and I'll be like your ghostwriter. You just be on the phone with me for like a half hour a day telling me, and then I'll write it for you. You know what I mean? Because I know this is a story that's relevant. You know what I'm saying? I told them, listen, let me get all of this tested.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let me get all this. Let me get everything. Let me get all my ducks in a row. And then I'm going to have to go out and speak because this stuff needs to be exposed, if not just to clear my name, to prevent these same prosecutors from doing this to other people. The prosecutor who tried my case was an Oriental woman named Jung Park. She had another assistant prosecutor with her, but she was the main one, you know, who was way out of line with the way she was handling things. I have also documentation of how she withheld evidence in another way. I can't really go into too much. I don't even want to go into too much. I just wanted to show them basic things so that they know, okay, the guard is not no sexual predator. He was set up not only with that case, but with a fake escape case. You know what I'm saying? Even the judge who presided over the trial was like, yo, after seeing that the video footage was tampered with and all this shit, and they talking about we don't know when, where, and how, and the officer testifying that the accusatory instrument he had with me going in the front of the house, now it's changed, it's gone, there's nowhere to be found, and there's one talking about I'm climbing the back fence. He was like, yo, this escape case looks suspicious. It don't look right. You know what I'm saying? It looks like something is wrong here because something is wrong. And I just wanted to get all that out. Let the people know that. Now we can link again and go into
talk about some rap shit.
Talk about some rap shit, man.
Yeah, but we had to get the real life, you know, unfortunately, you have enough, you know, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to articulate yourself and be able to educate people in situations like this, because it is a brother right now and a sister somewhere right now dealing with this exact issue somewhere around the world of the United States. So hopefully, you know what to look for in your situation. You know what to ask for in your situation, because that's the education too. You know what motions to file, and you know based off of the information he gave you. And that's what it is. I'm Doggie Diamonds. I'm here with True Master. The next time we come back, we're going to talk about some of these hit records, the making them. I heard some of the stories behind the scenes, so hopefully he'll give y'all some of the stories the next time we link, because he got a magic machine that...
I told him something. Well, my machine is the machine RZA used to have.
Not the machine, not the equipment, the machine. Tell him the name of the machine. Because it's a piece of equipment called machine.
Yes, EPS 16 plus. Yeah. And I guess it is taking on its own kind of, you know, it has its own shit with it.
It has its own spirit in it. Yeah. So the machine, he touched the machine, and the machine just does magical shit.
It's not that simple, because I could get that shit to anybody. They ain't gonna be able to put out the kind of shit I make. But you know, certain little things it does, you know, and I've learned it where, you know, I know how to make samples sound different than what the record sounds like, but sound like it. So you'll say, well, somebody might say, damn, I know that come from that record.
But where that part at?
But where's that part?
Yeah,
well, how come I can't get that part?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's because I've learned to use my machine in a way where, you know, I could sample something from something you might be able to identify, but it's so ill that they might say, damn, could we really? This shit don't sound like.
You know what? You know, I say my SP1200 is my first girl. That's the first bitch that I ever touched the most. I touched that bitch more than anything.
Right.
You think about that, when them machines,
you finger
fucking that shit like a motherfucker.
Well, listen.
With no KY test or nothing.
Yeah. Now that. T is loud.
Word.
But yo, word, it's like a machine like that becomes like, it's like a family member or you could call it
Companion,
a companion.
It's like a dog. It's
like something, anything that you know that you hold an endearment to. You know what I'm saying?
So before we go, give them one record that RZA produced on that same machine.
Okay, let's talk. RZA produced "Protect Your Neck" on that machine. He produced "Cream" on that machine. He produced METHOD on that machine. You know what I'm saying?
And you still got the machine?
I still got the machine.
Oh, we gonna have to.
And then for me to be producing Brooklyn Zoo and Milk the Cow, et cetera, Fish and all this shit
on the same machine.
That machine is absolutely a special machine.
And what's the name of that again? The machine?
EPS 16 Plus.
That's what it is. We Doggie Diamonds. I'm Doggie. I said we Doggie Diamonds. Shit's so crazy. When I come back, we gonna talk music. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.
Doggie Diamonds, no filter.